Yes, hello. I am James Rowland, and today it's the WNR492. It's NXT No Mercy, and I'm not alone. Of a pleasure to be joined by our resident NXT expert and New Japan deity. It is Monty. How's it going, man?
Happy to be back. Happy to be back once again, talking about NXT. I must say that after we talked about it last week, but you would think that after talking about all of those episodes of NXT, I remember a time where I really wanted a break, but I came into this really looking forward to this weekend. So that just shows you that the product is really picking up. Like, I can make the case. Some people are making the case that this has probably been some of the best booked and just some of the best stuff in wrestling in general. If you're just going off the last few months, so I'm really looking forward and happy to be back talking about NXT.
I'm so pleased that it's paid off, Monty. We're coming up now. I think maybe even today or next week. It's 3 years since you joined the podcast. So I forced you to join. You had no say, and even like I said, those NXT 2.0 days, and even the NXT UK stuff, where I thought I'm giving him too much. He's going to run away.
Mm-hmm.
You stuck by it, and it's kind of paying off. I don't want to pat myself on the back, but it's like
I agree.
We stuck in it, and it's working now.
Yeah, it's funny when you mentioned it, I was like, I do remember thinking about it. I was like, would it even be worth it? It wasn't even about making time for it. I was just like, I hope that I don't get on it. We talking about NXT UK, and I hate it, and then I just turn into that guy, and then all of your fans or whatever look at the American. He doesn't understand, British UK NXT. But no, I loved it, like you mentioned, and then like you said, it's paying off in a huge way now, because look at what NXT is. I mean, it's basically a hybrid of any of the good that was around NXT 2.0, and of course the good of the Black and Gold era. And then you mix it in with what NXT UK had going on. A lot of the pop, they found a way, a nice little mix. They've gotten rid of a lot of the stuff that we probably hated from NXT, and they're starting to really lean majorly into the stuff that we love. And they got a pay-per-view schedule or premium live event schedule. So everything is just looking up right now. And you're right, it's just a testament to our dedication to the product, because it was some rough shows that we sat through, and I'm proud to be here. I remember a couple. You don't do this at all anymore, but I remember we were looking at the 2.0s, and we would literally talk through an entire NXT episode without talking about a match in any detail, because everything was just nonsense. So we've come a long way. I'm proud to still be here, man. It's cool to see that progression. I think if anyone went back and just listened to all the pods of NXT that we've done, and just to see how we went from moderately excited to very excited when they were doing the Wednesday battles for AEW, to, oh my goodness, 2.0, to just depressed to where we are now. It's just a very, very nice, journey that we've taken everyone on.
Well, this is the thing, and don't get me wrong, people can go listen back to NXT, and there is a couple of cool moments I remember, like when we did, I think Samoa Joe winning Regal in ring, like, but word for word. Like, so there's gold in the past, but again, this 3 years in NXT has been the biggest change that it's had since it kind of begun. So even when you consider, like, Kyle O'Reilly was in the main event, and he's been injured for 4 years now. So
for a long time, yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
But again,
I think Adam Cole has had like 4 injuries since in our entire run. He's been hurt. So yeah, no, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So we're going to catch up one episode before No Mercy. It's 26th. And we've got the Global Heritage Invitational Final, Butch versus Joe Coffey. As the Gallus leader fumed outside, Butch sent him into the steel steps and hit the better end in the ring to win. Should mention, Metaphor showed off their final look of the Invitational, fully inspired by Ocean's 11. And I tell you what, I mean, I'm a warm-blooded male, and Jackson's skirt, man. Oh my God, I know normally go there, But by God, as JR would say, what were your thoughts on Butch winning the Invitational and facing No Dark No Mercy?
Honestly, when the final was announced, I kind of I figured this would be the result because even if you like Joe Coffey, I just right now Gallus is running heel. Noam Dar applies his trade uh, very good. Him and Joe could work obviously, but I just feel like it would have been much better with a guy like Butch, a babyface, and someone who understands their style. And it made me consider things like again, I didn't know. Like you said, would they try to reignite who Butch used to be? And also, I did imagine him carrying around the cup and being a Heritage Cup champion because I know he would be able to put on awesome matches. So it was definitely, I think they made the right decision. I must say that Joe Coffey looked like an idiot. He dived head first right into the stairs. I think he was going for a shoulder thing or a spear maybe. I don't know. But he definitely looked funny when Bush just moved out of the way because he just gave himself up in the air there before the finish. But it was a solid match. I enjoyed it. And, yeah, like I said, I was excited for the match to come because I knew with given time and, the beauty about the Heritage Cup, you always have a little time. So you're always going to have time. You're not going to be cut too short usually. So, yeah, man, I knew that these two guys would do a great job. And you're 100% right. Metaphor. Not only have the theme been great, but of course Jackson and even Last Legend, man, they really, really killed those looks and definitely had not only you but a lot of other people on the internet we on a weekly basis are barking for those two ladies.
This is the
so
problem.
I get it.
But my God,
right.
And again,
I get it.
It's funny because I think Mark Coffey deep down was kind of pleased about the result. At least I'm the only one, like, and even though they didn't do it, Trick Williams, he would have a busy night. He beat Joe Gacy. Do you remember when Joe Gacy used to be an NXT title threat?
Who's in title shots, right? Yeah.
Well, I was worried he would win, like, at one point. That crazy. They're crazy. Anyway,
yeah, man.
Trick headed to Shawn Michaels' locker room with a request later. Baron Corbin beat Josh Briggs out of... That's what we're calling them now, out of the mud. And I'm going to keep saying it, like they told me on NXT. They beat Hank and Tank with a distraction from Scripps. I'm annoyed, and Monty, I don't want to kind of dig deep into this a lot, but again, I'm annoyed with WWE because it seems like it's another generic street team. Like, I don't want to go back to Crime Time, but it's like, have they got no other characters? Does every character have to be kind of like a street? I don't know, again, if they've got any say in the matter or if that's the kind of character they've gone for, but it's just, there's a lot of them, and especially with, like, other ones like Commander Aziz or something like that. He could have fit in this role. Like, what's different about these two guys that we haven't seen before,
Yeah, I understand that completely. I think the thing is about maybe it has a lot to do with their actual backgrounds and like just where they're from and what they have. But I do agree. I think that sometimes it can be lazy. I want to give it time because maybe they can do something unique with it. That's the thing. It's not so much as just the trope because there's certain things in wrestling that at the end of the day I've just become used to it to an extent. But it's like, what can you do to make it different? Like we can go, you mentioned Crime Time. We can go all the way back to like Harlem Heat originally. If you're going off their background and who they are, gimmick wise, we're from like the streets of Harlem. But they did something unique. They were a great team. They brought attitude. They brought more than just edge and more than just looking the part. So that's what they're gonna have to do. They're gonna have to find a way to do something unique with it, give it a unique twist. And then, like you said, maybe if you give them time, maybe if they're given time, they will be able to stand out for them. But I 100% agree with you. It does come off as kind of lazy and, tropish when you think about Out of the Mud or OTM. When you think about the fact that they've done this a lot over the years when they have teams in this vein. And it's just like, where are you going to go with it? Because, I'm glad that you mentioned Crime Time because that at least shows you that they were memorable. But you know why they were memorable? Because they took it other places. They were street, but they were funny. They took it in a different place creatively. So you have to try to get out of that trope. But I do agree with you. It's lazy.
Well, Crime Time would have worked if they stopped fucking turning on each other. But again, that's part of the booking. And again, we talk about stereotypes.
And they never really were serious tag teams, you know.
No. But again, like stereotypes, like with a family as well. You know, Tony D and Stan, the kind of Italian American. They were sitting in their favorite Italian restaurant, welcomed Angel and Humberto. I wonder if the tattoos are real. Do you know what? Do you think they were like, look, we're going to give you a push, but you need these tattoos on your chest? Like,
no way, right?
No, come on. Unless they're transfers like a 4-year-old would have. Like, that's the only thing. They had to put it on with
I'm trying to remember. I don't remember them like fading or anything.
They did come off during the match. No, I was on Monty. You know what I'm like? I'm on tattoo watch. So I was ready to make a joke about how long, and I was going, "Fuck it, they lasted. They lasted."
I don't know what that is. That's great point. I hope they didn't make them get tattoos though. Come on, man.
The Creed brothers joined the dinner table as well, and again, in these situations, Brutus is the man. Like he gets it. Like, and I really, really enjoy it. OTM joined dinner later. As we got a fatal 4-way match confirmed for No Mercy. We got a vignette for Becky Lynch versus Tiffany Stratton. Blair Davenport warned Gigi Dolan she did not let people get back up when she attacked them like the long list of people she did in the car park. Later, she assaulted her in the locker room, so that would learn her. Strap match, Dijak versus Eddie Thorpe. Thorpe fought back and hit a diving elbow wrapped in the strap to win. Afterwards, Hard Justice wrapped up his rival's feet in the turnbuckle and battered him with his white belt. But again, we talk about tropes and things WWE do. If you have family members at ringside, chances are you're getting a piss.
You're going to get beat in front of them.
Yeah, it's just it's what happens, you know?
It's guaranteed. Anytime they name drop it, you're probably going to win the match, but you're definitely probably going to take a spot or something right in front of
it's Dijak. He's literally the Baron Corbin of NXT, even I've got Baron Corbin. Like,
and as a matter of fact, Baron Corbin is falling out of that role. They making Dijak the name that we put there now because Corbin they're really trying to repurpose him, it seems. But Dijak, oh my goodness!
I'll tell you what, I've got a fantastic stat about Corbin later. But what did you think? Because Eddie Thorpe and Dijak did bring it, but again, like you said, it's just the strap match usually ends feud, doesn't it? Rather than apparently not. Like the past 2 matches, that's happened.
And I'm trying to figure out where do you go from here after they beat the hell out of each other like that? Like what do you do? Do he lose another, or do he fight in another last man standing type of deal, or how do you one up that? Because I 100% agree with you. They really brought it, and they were aggressive. They beat the hell out of each other throughout the match, and then the beat down at the end, like you said, just only continues it. So you would think too, because I think this would be like the third match, and Dijak won 2, so maybe they have to tie it up. That's why they have to keep this going. I don't know. But honestly, yeah, I'm with you. I think this probably should be over, and maybe for a time it could be, but honestly, with a beatdown like that, and then you add the family member element, this is most likely we're probably going to get another one of these situations. I don't know exactly what. I think, honestly, though, that's one thing I will say. He kind of had to, because Dijak is just, like we said, we know this. He's a loser, an entertaining loser, but a loser nonetheless. So he has to get some type of heat back. So I guess bullying Eddie in the end is the way he get that back. But we'll see how this turns out as this continues on, though, because I'm with you. I don't think it's over.
No, my only hope is that they didn't warn Eddie's niece and scarred her emotionally for life. We see Thea Hale showing off her new look backstage to Chase U. Andre Chase was not happy, but Duke, he had the old English expression, he had a semi on. She was also unveiled a new entrance theme in the ring. She then beat Danny Palmer, and JC Jane made fun of Chase U behind Hale's back. Now, the question is, Hale didn't need to change, so is this setting up her coming back to the Thea Hale we know, or is this toxic attraction too?
Right, it's a good point. It's the part at the end there that kind of makes me consider, because at first with the new music, new look, I'm like, oh, okay, so they're probably going to really go into it, and I guess we'll really get a chance to see what's next. But the entire doing it behind her back and her still even talking to Chase U, because honestly, if she really wanted to leave, she could. She has reason enough, and people would have understood it that you do it. So, but maybe you drag this out so you can make her turning on Chase U a little bit more dramatic, and then, like you said, maybe we run with the JC Jane thing, or it goes the more predictable route because JC has already proven to be a snake before that. I'm just trying to figure out what would be the hitch between them because right now they seem to be fine. So it's like, what would be what? How do they do that? Do she catch her talking about Chase? Chase at this point is not necessarily in her good graces either at the moment. So we'll see how it turns out. I'm thinking most likely though, JC and Thea will end up separating, and we get more of a hybrid. Maybe this does change Thea Hale, but not in the way that they're leaning towards making her basically a JC clone.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be the outcome. But I'm interested to see where they decide to go though, because like you said, she didn't need it. She was doing well.
But again, I've got no problem with like a secondary women's feud. So again, like it's all story.
Right.
So
I agree.
I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain like Dominic Mysterio did because he heard about the number one contendership triple threat match, determined his challenger at No Mercy. In the locker room, Trick revealed to that he had been added to the triple threat match. Action and Bate were not happy. But think about it. You lost in the Heritage Cup Invitational, you still get a chance. Along with Dragon Lee, who seems to sign a contract to permit him title opportunities every week. It seems now a North American title. I don't know. But Dragon Lee, Tyler Bate, Axiom, Trick Williams. It was chaotic fatal 4-way.
Unbelievable match on Raw, by the way. Unbelievable match on Raw. They killed that. But go ahead.
You are right. And again, this is something about Dom that I was going to say later, but it's true now. Like the kind of he's grown into this character so much, especially this run with the North American title. Exactly to have that match on Raw with no bells and whistles with like Ripley or anybody else. Like, Ripley being away has been a shame, but it has let Dom be in the spotlight. A bit like, with Trick Williams as well, with the story with Carmelo, and he got the win here. A fantastic finish. I really finish of this. Like, so smart. And of course, Trick Williams gets a victory. Were you surprised Trick became the number one contender? He's kind of got the momentum at the moment, though, isn't he?
I was about to say, once he got added to the match, I think it's funny, though. Like you said, we talked about Gacy earlier. Look how far he's falling. He just, a guy fights you that same night, and he could go fight another match. I know Trick has, like you said, all the momentum, but it just really shows you where, like you said, where Gacy is right now when it comes to NXT. But anyway, no, I'm with you. Once he got added to the match, I thought that it was a no-brainer, just mostly because of who else was there. Like you mentioned, like where we're gonna go back to Dragon Lee right after Monday, and you already have made Dragon Lee. Now Dragon Lee has to be Dominic. Okay, like it just has to happen. And then it's like you have Bate, and like you said, Axiom has come close but failed at every end. I'm pretty sure Dominic's winning that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Dominic's winning that. Bate, you could say it's a chance, but at the end of the day, like we said, even with he's chasing the Heritage Cup, I don't think this would be his main focus. So once Trick was in there, I thought it made sense because they did have that little scene backstage a few weeks back of him basically, going back and forth with Dominic a little bit. So he at least had a little bit he's shown interest in this belt besides Dragon Lee. So I think it made sense, and I was really, really happy about it. And it's just, again, it's one of those things where I just remember a few months ago letting you know that all Trick needed was a little bit more experience and seasoning. And it just seemed like whether it's because of Level Up, whether it's because of the live events that they've been doing on NXT, or just his television matches that we've been able to see leading up to this point, Trick Williams has definitely improved and gotten to the point to where he was already there as a talker, and I think his character has only improved. The whoop that Trick is catching on. I think everything, it's kind of like the LA Knight thing when everything is just kind of hidden on all cylinders at the right time. And I think this was just a great opportunity for him. And his first title shot, man, it's kind of cool that we've been kind of here with Trick every step of the way from a manager to where he is now.
Well, this is the thing. Well, this is why I love NXT, and NXT has always been a personal favourite because it does give time for characters to develop. Like I said, this story with Trick now has been, a few months in the making, and it has kind of worked about can he get to this point, and then the story has paid off. Right. Yes, we had, unfortunately, with Ali, but again, that's why NXT works. Another thing NXT works with as well is like when we saw the Unseen Figure watching early highlights of Brian Pillman's career. We kind of knew it's Brian Pillman Jr., but it's going to take a few weeks to kind of come into place, you know. And again, they can make wrestlers seem bigger deal just with certain things like that. And again, Trick seems like a big deal now, and he was excited to tell Carmelo Hayes about his title P, but Melo was distracted with preparations for the contract signing. Contract signing wasn't great as Melo and Nia faced off. Dragunov questioned what Melo would do if he cannot keep the Mad Dragon down with his best shot. Melo listed all the men Dragunov had beaten, including Trick, saying he was better than them all. Oops, that was a Freudian slip, wasn't it? After Melo signed the contract, though, he delivered an emphatic statement that would not lose. Are they planting seeds of dissension there, do you reckon, or is it just too early?
Man, they've been hinting at it hard, if we being honest, like ever since Dragunov and Trick kind of continued their feud, and Trick, wanted to do his own thing initially, it seemed like everything was fine, but Melo's confidence has been shaken, and we'll talk about it later once we get to the result of No Mercy, because I really do have I think that's part more of the direction that we can head into with Melo. If we're keeping him in NXT, that's where we can do with Melo going forward. But honestly, I think that's what I took from this, from the most part. If it's one thing, whether Trick was here, whether you think it's due to Trick being there for him or whatever it was, Melo has always been confident and like even overconfident. Even a few times, like when he lost the North American title, ladder match, and all of that type of stuff, he has had some shortcomings where his confidence has gotten him. But that's the thing. It's been because he was overconfident. It wasn't because his confidence was shaking. And I think that's the thing I really like the most about the entire segment, is that you can tell that Dragunov got into his head. And I honestly, watching this, and I was like, yeah, my boy's in trouble. I was just holding out on hope that he could still find a way to overcome it. But I love the way that they did this, even if it wasn't, like you said, the probably the greatest signing. I did love the intent. Again, everything Dragunov does is just top level intense. So I just love the fact that he's making Melo a guy who, at the end of the day, if you know anything about his character so far, like you said, he's him. He's confident. He's always been to that. He's always thought of himself very, very highly. And to see just how far that even the way he won that match in Great American Bash, just to see how much that got into his head. And to see what he looked like going into this match, he was trying to convince himself that he was better than Dragunov, instead of knowing he was better than Dragunov. And I just love that element of the story.
But I think my issue with this way sometimes Dragunov is they much to say, and I think he's more of an impact of if he let Melo speak throughout all of it and then said at the end,
that's true.
Look, I'm going to do this to you. And then when he said, like, long live the Tsar, I don't think that's all he needs to say. Because as soon as he said that, I thought, when's the last time he said that? Like, and it gave me excitement of like, oh, fuck, Melo's in trouble here, man. Like,
I agree. Yeah, I agree. He's better in short bursts, kind of like, but even with Roman and like the certain way he speaks, like that, like some people are better if you don't have the promo as drawn out, or you know what I mean, as exaggerated. And I think Dragunov is definitely best in the way, because it's not so much as the volume in what he said. It's like the certain things in which you say, like you said, what happened if you miss your shot, Melo? And I was like, Melo don't miss. Well, the fact that Carmelo didn't even say Melo don't miss is the fact that just shows you that I was more confident in him than he was, man. So I again, it was some great parts of it, but you're 100% right. I think Dragunov is at his best if he speaks, in short, and just use his intensity, use the fact that he looks like he's gonna rip you apart every time he speaks.
And I don't think Melo can top that. One of us will be, with champagne, the other one would just be in pain. The last time round, I still remember it now.
Yeah, that was a good one.
The show ended with Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin actually having a good parking lot brawl. Don't see a lot. And then until they have to ruin it, didn't they? Like the chokeslam in the car was good enough, but no, have to spear themselves through a fake wall into Shawn Michaels' office to end the show. I mean, but again, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it.
Yeah. No, I didn't mind it. Me either. I did. It did kind of seem a little bit like, okay, this isn't the first time. I know that I complain about brawls a lot in wrestling, but that's not even my overarching point. Is that the fact that Bron Breakker doing this just felt oddly reminiscent, basically, of something that I've seen him do in the past. And you're 100% right. They kind of overdid it, I think. But honestly, like you said, it built. I think honestly, we talked about Dragunov. I think this is a situation where it's like they've done a lot of talking, and neither one of these guys are the most compelling. So let's just make them fight. You know what I'm saying? Like they talk decent enough, but neither one of these guys are gonna, really sell a match with their words. So let's just try to sell it with the fact that we're gonna make them fight in a war. So yeah, I think that was the goal, and they achieved that at least.
Yeah, without doubt. It wasn't a bad episode of NXT as we move on to No Mercy then, September 30th. Kickoff in the studio with Megan Moran, Matt Camp, Sam Roberts. We see Dragon Lee getting interviewed. He loves Rey Mysterio. I mean, he loves him. Like, all it was out of his mouth was Mysterio. Trick and Mello interviewed. They look as good as they feel. But it looked like Trick was having a better time than Mello. The kickoff match was Blair Davenport versus Kalana. I don't know. I'm going to say Kalana Jordan. And if I get it wrong, I apologize.
Yeah, Kaylani. I guess they're trying to say Kalani. But yeah.
Honestly, I have a history, Monty, as you know, of butchering the names of plenty until they become a little bit successful.
Right. You have to hear it repeatedly.
Yeah. Isla Dragunov. Again,
right.
Don't listen to Japanese shows. But I tell you what, saying this, Jordan did show out against Blair Davenport, but she couldn't finish the job. Davenport caught with a diving stomp into a swinging side slam for the win. After the match, G. Jordan hit the ring and stomped on Davenport until officials, of course, separated them. I think Blair needs like a plan of action. She definitely needs a better finisher. But what were your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah. I thought she was. They must have told her to stop doing the whole Kamagoye knee to the face thing. I like
faces,
that.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, maybe she was hurting people, but I didn't have a problem with it. I thought that would be better than the I guess it's a Falcon Arrow. I don't even know how to really say, but either way it goes, the problem with the Falcon Arrow is it's another one of those moves that I've seen plenty of people kick out of all the time. So. It kind of then it's not really the most impactful version of it, so it is what it is. But you're right, Kaylani Jordan looked great here. You kind of see that potential, and it really has me looking forward to her in the women's breakout tournament because honestly, going into it, I was only thinking that maybe Lola, because I know the NXT crowd really likes Lola and she has potential with her MMA background. I really thought Lola would probably be the one. They're going to announce the rest of them later on in No Mercy, but I just thought Lola would be by far the one who would be the leader. Now, after looking at a match like that, I can see, Kalani, that might be my finals. I don't know. I'm just predicting, but Kalani definitely has potential, and you can definitely see that athleticism, that gymnast background, come into play here. And Blair, who's just awesome, in my opinion, at all the little things, and just a really good wrestler. I 100% agree with you. Either go back to the Kamagoye or just find something, another unique finisher that you can do. Because that one is, it just doesn't really work. But I'm with you as far as direction. Now, obviously, they're going with the Gigi Dolan angle right now. And maybe it's just to buy time because, you have like Soruka, you got Nikita. You have all these people
has no one
who you
told
still got to
her,
wait to come back, I guess.
Has no one told her who the champion is? Because she's attacked so many wrestlers.
She's beating everyone. And I don't know, maybe because of what we're doing right now with our champion, since Tiffany has kind of been doing her own thing, and we have Becky now, maybe that's where we'll go next. That maybe eventually, if she gets out of this GG situation, she will actually try to hurt a Becky or something like that. But I don't know. I'm with you. I don't know why they don't want to plunge full speed ahead with a person like Blair because she could do it all. But maybe it's because of the finisher or something like that. Like the few missing pieces that she still has. Maybe a little bit too glaring, and that's why they're taking their time. But I don't know. I think we'll just have to wait it out and see how these things work out. I hope they don't have her twiddling her thumbs with these minor feuds until Nikita or so can come back. But it feels like that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I think without doubt. Out of 5, what would you score it?
They work hard. Like I said, I was impressed with Kit Kalani. I'll give it 3.5. 3.5. I think it was solid. Good match. No problem with it.
I gave it 3 3/4. Like I said, very impressive. It's always nice when a talent comes out. You haven't seen a lot of them, and they show out a little bit in the time that they have got.
Agreed.
Prediction League 2023, before No Mercy. WWE Prediction League, Gina is in the lead on 5 points. Monty and I are on 4, with Jaxie on 3, I do believe. AEW, Jaxie's on 4, Monty and James on 3, Gina on 2, and Bonus League, Monty is on 15, I'm on 14, Gina on 12, Jaxie on 11. So it's all to play for today. We all went Blair, so we're all on 1. We start with the main show, which started with a No Mercy video game inspired introduction. Now, I think this may be the greatest cold open of all time. I used to play No Mercy. Everybody knows No Mercy. The guy, whoever came up with this, man, woman, child, needs a raise. Monty, this is a brilliant way to start the show. I was all excited.
Yeah, I agree. Greatest video game, wrestling video game of all time. For a long time for people. Maybe it still is. I'm not sure. Only thing that I can even put in that category with it would maybe be Here Comes the Pain, but that's just because of my age group. I was playing that a little bit more. But I also played No Mercy growing up because, again, it's one of the greatest games ever. So just the throwback to do that, whoever did it, like you said, deserves whatever they need. They need their name brandished somewhere. Like everyone needs to praise them because it was just an awesome thing to do. Awesome tribute to the past. I love the select screen with like NXT superstars of the past too. Like, having a Bailey and an Oscar and all these other NXT great on the menu screen select also. So I just love that little nod. And the same thing with just the quality of it all and just the way it all turned out. I agree 100%. It was such a great cold open that immediately immediately once it aired, the entire open itself was just on Twitter. I just seen it just uploaded everywhere. Again, I've never seen a cold open just shared to that extent,
honestly,
like you said, for a show. But it was just very well executed, and like you said, I don't know how you get any better than that, man. It was awesome, and I think all us wrestling fans who are also gamers had to enjoy that.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. We started off with Bron Breakker versus Baron Corbin. Breakker came out with a wolf hood, which looked more like a bear to me, But again, I don't want to argue. I mean, Monty, you wolf or bear with what he's wearing?
You know what? I think it was the way the camera had it angled, because the way it was zoomed in at first, it was very confusing. It definitely looked like a bear, but if you zoom out and you kind of see the wolf or whatever it was supposed to be, which is very funny to me because I'm like, he's fighting Baron Corbin. I guess Corbin is no longer the lone wolf, but and then I was like, but this is definitely not a dog. You don't look like the dog face gremlin. You don't look like so whatever. But it works, I guess.
I can say no bears or wolves were harmed in the making of the entrance. Maybe a lone wolf would be harmed. And talking nicknames, the lone bear would make a Mandy Rosamount on OnlyFans. I'm just saying. Anyway, Corbin rolled in it on the motorcycle, which I don't think's been done before, Monty. So again, it's nice that someone's doing something fresh.
Yeah, Chuck Palumbo.
Yeah,
maybe.
Chuck Palumbo is who you.
I'm just saying, yeah, not the most famous.
I love
Chuck
it.
Palumbo.
That's why you and I get on. It's a Chuck Palumbo motorbike.
Not the Road Warriors.
Not the Road Warriors coming to Wembley. No, man. Not Road Wild or anything like that. Yeah. Oh, deep cuts. Anyway, so the match, the two brawled in the crowd before the bell, with Bron throwing around security. He brutalised Baron Corbin in what was surprisingly one-sided fight. Corbin did manage to send Breakker through the announce table, but I don't know when Bron turned into the Undertaker, but he just sat up. When did this happen?
I was like he took that spine buster and he was up so fast. I thought something happened to my stream. I thought it skipped time or something. Like, what the hell?
I'm just like, are they taking every Undertaker gimmick just in this matchup? I said, Bron with a spear. However, Mr. Stone managed to distract Breakker enough. Lucky those security guards were there to catch him, I will say. But Bron walked into the end of days, which sealed the win for him. and I'm annoyed because I should have
Me
gone
too.
Corbin because I knew it was too
It's
early
so
for
smart.
Von. Do you know what I mean? I knew it was too early for Von, but god damn.
I'm so mad at myself too because it's like, how did I not think about that? Because there's no way he could just half kill a man and no one do anything. Like you said, I knew Vaughn couldn't do it. And I was like, I no way. I didn't even think. I didn't even consider Mr. Stone.
He's
didn't
nothing.
even consider
he's
him.
not anybody. Like we didn't think.
That's what aggravated me the most. I'm like, it makes so much sense, but I didn't even think about it. Didn't even think about it. But good for Corbin. Good for Corbin.
I mean, what do you think? What did you think of this matchup anyway?
Yeah, man, it was chaotic. It was a pretty cool match. I think this is what, and not to keep piling on, because everyone's piling over Gable at this point, but this is probably what Gable would have benefited from if you think about the way their situation was going. Instead of all of the references and obvious, I want to be Kurt Angle like situations. If they would have just made his a war and then it ends maybe in the double count out, maybe we wouldn't be mad. Maybe the crowd couldn't, shit all over it like they did for Gable Steveson. If you really think about it. Now, I'm not saying he's even capable of being as, compelling or as fun to watch as Braun Breaker was at times in this one. But I'm just saying that the style of match, especially with the finish, that the double count out finish, would have helped him out a lot more than it did. But honestly, this is really cool. I didn't have a problem with it, and it reminded me. I was like, okay, well, I forgot. So far since Corbin has been back, he has been pretty much protected. He doesn't really seem like the Baron Corbin of old. Like he hasn't been, taking unnecessary losses. Other than what I think wasn't it Mello? Who was it? Dragunov? I think it was Dragunov who beat him. I don't know. He only lost 1 or 2 matches though since being back. And so, it's been a pretty cool, rebranding for him. We'll see how long that lasts. And I do think the overall end goal will probably be to put over Breaker. But I think this is nowhere near over. Just like the Von Wagner element of it is nowhere near over. And I don't know, maybe down the line, they're priming us up for that massive triple threat match of Braun Breaker, Von Wagner, and Corbin for nothing. Because I don't even know why. There's no other incentive other than just big guys mad at each other, I guess. But hey, we'll see.
You know it's going to happen. Talking about Braun, his dive at the start, as like his spear, is epic, as we know.
Effortless, man. He's so good.
Unbelievable. Baron has turned into quite a wrestler. I think next week he'll come up in flames, spitting blood, and then kind of decide where to go from there. It's just kind of one of those things.
Bam Bam Bigelow. Undertaker,
whoever, like someone's done it and they don't know anything about wrestling. Nice to know as well. It's not just me that has technical difficulties. The commentary did go out for like the first 10 minutes, and Booker always makes me laugh. But weirdly enough, right? I looked this up, and I may be wrong, Monty. I may be wrong, but this is Baron Corbin's first win at a premium live event in a single match since, well, can you guess? Since when? When's the last time did Corbin win?
I mean, did he even win that dog food thing with Roman? Would that be it? Or I don't think it's all the way back to beating Kurt Angle. Right?
No, you are right, though, weirdly enough.
It's wrong.
People talked about Roman Reigns last time he was pinned. That was the last Corbin got a win. It was 2019. God. It's been 4 years.
Oh, good.
I couldn't believe it. I really.
So he hadn't won since Roman was the big dog. That's insane.
No. So we had WrestleMania, but he's not even featured. Like, to catch up on his record is pretty easy. Because, like, WrestleMania match, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But singles one-on-one,
yeah,
that is what I'm going back for. Prove me wrong, anybody. As for the matchup, though, Monty, what are you going to score out of 5?
I give it a 4, man. It was a good time. I don't think it was bad at all. It wasn't the greatest thing. It wasn't trying to be a Mac Classic or a wrestling match. It was trying to be chaotic. It was trying to be a fight, a brawl. And I think it was pretty fun in that regard. And then, like I said, the finish made sense. Even if it may come off cheap if you weren't familiar with the story. But I think if you're going with everything that's been happening week to week, it made a lot of sense, even though I was wrong. So I have to give it 4 stars.
Yeah, I give it 3.95. Predictions, we all went wrong, so you all went wrong. So 1-0 still. The problem watching kickoff and then watching the main show, you see like Becky Lynch and Tiffany Stratton arrive again. And it's like, how many times can you arrive to an arena? Surely. NXT North American title next. Dominic Mysterio versus Trick Williams with a special guest for free, Dragon Lee. And I tell you what, Dominic Mysterio had a real shiner. Whether they added makeup or not, like, that was quite bad. I'm not gonna lie.
I agree. It got worse because he had it Tuesday. He had it on the other show, but it looked worse. Like you said, I don't know if they added anything, and I'm trying to figure out where did it come from. I guess it was from the Dragon Lee situation, but yeah, man, it looked pretty rough.
Well, I should say before the match, Carmelo Hayes and Trick talked up leaving No Mercy as champions together, so that will give Trick extra motivation. I can hear your expiration. Dragon tried to hand off the title at the belt. Dirty Dom took a cheap shot at Trick, was angry when Dragons was late to the count. The crowd's favourite chance in this match was whoop that Trick and we want mummy. Dirty Dom accidentally superkicked Dragon, who was down for several minutes. Classic referee work. If he was hit that move in a match, he'd be up within 10. But
that was the thing that made me mad. That was the thing that made me mad because I'm like, Dragon Lee, come on, man. Come on, man. I see you take all types of stuff. As a matter of fact, he may have took a super kick Monday. He may have took one and kicked out or whatever.
But again, we don't know what Dom had in his boots. Luckily for Trick, Dragon did recover just in time to count 3 after Trick caught Dirty Dom with a bicycle knee strike as Dom was holding the American title. So your new North American champion, it is Trick Williams. And Monty, all I can say is you were right. You were right.
Whoop that Trick. Whoop that Trick. Let's go. Again, like I said, the combination of a beautiful story to watch him rise up. But I was nervous, too. I told you this before when we were predicting that I was nervous because it was his first title match. It was Dom, so you never know if this would be the time that they would use maybe a Priest appearance, because I figured Rhea would probably still be out selling or doing whatever she's doing or hurt or whatever. I knew that probably would make sense for her to still not be there. But, I didn't know if anyone was in California with Dom, so it was always a chance. And then even with the Dragon Lee element, sometimes the special guest referee thing does not play into the challenger or the babyface in this situation's favor. So it was really interesting to see how this turned out. And it ended up going, like you said, in Trick's favor. And I must say, can you tell me, other than taking that bump for the super kick, why Dragon Lee was here? He just needed that. Was he there for the pay-per-view bonus?
Again, I know Jaxie called me a cunt for not telling her, but I really didn't know. Like, there was a point. And
you're right. You were 100% right. You told her, I don't think it's going to matter all too much. And you were completely right. It didn't really play a factor in the match really at all, in all honesty. And, the only thing that makes me optimistic for Dragon Lee, because he's taking a lot of losses just to end up not the champion anyway, is that it seems like since they're putting him on Raw and SmackDown, seems like they're probably going to advance his call up a little faster than even that I was expecting. I don't know. I could be wrong there, but that's what it feels like.
You were right, because Dragon Lee was trying to go after Bobby Lashley, which wouldn't have been a mistake at all.
Right. He definitely wouldn't have got his head took off. And then, again, by the way, I just want to say, can they just go ahead and just fast forward and let him in the LWO, because he was an honorary member, like you said right there. He was so mad. I was just like, Dragon Lee, I understand you look up to Rey Mysterio, but calm down, my guy. Calm down.
Again, I like you, Monty, but if Bobby Lashley was coming around to you, I'd probably be like, do you know what?
Sit down.
I'm in the audience. I can't help. I don't know.
No, hell no. I wouldn't expect you to help.
But I will say, for Trick, not bad for your first premium live event match. Is it really to win the North American title?
Right.
Question is, would Ali have won? Would Mustafa Ali won his first gold in WWE if he hadn't been released then? If this is what we're going to do with Dom?
My theory is no. And the only reason why is not because it's Ali or anything, because unfortunately Ali is always on the short end of this situation. I think because I think Dragon Lee was always meant to be the referee, and I think if you remember, we had this whole special guest referee situation play out when Dom was the referee, and those two guys were involved. So I'm assuming Dragon Lee would have been Dominic would have found a way to turn those two guys against each other or to screw the situation over, kind of like we saw a bump in this situation. But instead of Trick taking advantage and winning, Ali would have ended up, Dominic probably would have took advantage and won, and Ali would have unfortunately lost because he kind of earned his title shot through bad referee play. So I think they would have kept the story going with that in that regard. That's just the way I see it. And I think the reason why he called the audible for Trick is that not only would have been a nice shock, not only it was a nice shock way to do it, I just think with the momentum he's carrying, that it just fit perfectly with the timing of everything. Even, depending on how we'll see how it turns out, what Dominic does going forward after this, maybe to chase this belt down. But whatever's next for Trick as champion. But I just think that the plans changed the same way the plans had to change because Ali was gone. Because from what I was reading up on Ali, they had plans for months. That's why management was pretty upset that Ali was kind of released without even letting the people in NXT know, because they had plans for months for Ali. And I think chasing the North American title probably was a part of the plan.
Well, the thing is, I mean, to go back just to like the Trick and even the Dom thing, I just hope they don't, say on NXT of like, oh, Dom complains because of referee involvement or whatever, and then gets told back.
No, they shouldn't do that.
If they're doing Trick now, go Trick. I think Dom is ready to upgrade his title. I think he's proven, as we spoke about earlier, with the North American. I think I don't want to wait till WrestleMania, but if Mysterio is US champion, then Dom is the perfect challenger.
Yeah, I think that, and that might be where we're headed. I think that might be the end goal here. If, like you said, if Mysterio can hold on to it that long, I think that may be the situation that we have here. And hell, I wouldn't even be surprised if we can see, a lot. Like again, I think it'd be a great story that you could tell there with Dominic. And I think you're 100% right. This time in NXT, he got exactly what he needed. He's way more believable on his own already. You know what I mean? Like, I think when he was, he wasn't really that believable before this whole entire thing. It's funny what having a single championship for even of just a few months can do for you in WWE if you just present it the right way. And I think now he can move on, do more Judgment Day things, and we can just continue to see his development from that point of view. Now, I wouldn't be mad if he does complain and he at least get a match with Trick again. But I hope I'm with you. Please stick it out and run with the Trick thing, because I think that will also be more valuable for where Trick is at with his character, and then it would be for where Dom is at in his character. Because Dom, like you said, has kind of ascended past needing this championship in my eyes, and I think it's time for him to point towards bigger. He got bigger fish to fry in the long run for Dominic right now.
All right, so as for the match, then, what are we going to give it?
Okay, so the match itself, like I said, the special referee kind of I didn't like the fact that he was kind of inconsequential other than a bump, especially when there's a guy like Dragon Lee. Seemed like he was just there, but the result was fun. The match itself was a good time. I'm going to go with 3 3/4, and I'm very happy that Trick Williams won. I'm not gonna overrate the match because I was very, very happy with the result, because the match itself was good, but it wasn't amazing. Now, I tell you, the fans over in California seem to be really into it. I really love that because, again, guys like me and you who watch this all the time, it's really cool to see, even if those arenas may not be packed to the brim, in those bigger arenas around the country, to hear the reaction of people that we watch on a weekly basis is getting, because it just shows you that NXT is reaching a lot of people around the country.
Well, there's not only that as well, but the thing is, and this is what W have learned recent times as well, crowd participation. They want to chant along. They want to kind of do things and motions, and they kind of whoop that Trick, and with fans getting into it, even if they don't know him, it's fun to, like I said, even, fun to sing along. I'm going to give it a 3.95. Predictions, we all went for Dominic, apart from Monty, who I thought... You were crazy. I thought you out of your mind when you told me. But that's why you got to take chances, and it came through,
Sometimes you gotta go with that hunch, man. Sometimes you can't ignore it all the time. Sometimes you gotta go with it and just have faith and hope it work out.
So Monty's on 2, the rest on 1. Joe Gacy told Ava that she needed to find a new family as Schism was gone. Ava, just join the bloodline already.
Well, just join your real family, Ava. How about that?
The Rock came back a couple of weeks ago and had a word.
Right. Did not mention his daughter's in the cult at all. Perfect opportunity to try to drag her out of the cult, but we'll see.
We'll see what happens exactly. Yeah, it'd be interesting.
What you think is next for either one of those guys, Ava or Joe? Is Joe just done? He dead to the world?
I think Joe's just gonna be like, fuck this. Yeah, I'm not fucking bother. He'll start looking like Corbin. He'll come out on a motorbike and a vest and just. Another
he needs to join up with Hank and Tank. I don't have a particular reason why.
He's going to turn someone. Now he's going to do something. I'm sure we've not seen the last of him. But then again, it could be worse. Could be Cameron Grimes, couldn't you? So, I suppose.
Oh my God, poor Cameron.
I know, but remember when Vince McMahon just called up NXT talent without any plan. Anyway, so NXT tag team titles next. The Family versus the Creed Brothers versus Angel and Humberto versus OM. And OTM came out in low-riding bicycles with Grand Theft Auto-inspired presentation. The Family brought out some family members for their entrance. It's just, again, I don't want to complain, but if I was like an Italian American, then surely it's like, so you need a beard and like, just a suit and you're Italian. Like, that's all it takes, is it? Like, I'll leave it there.
Oh my goodness!
At least they weren't eating like bowls full of spaghetti or stuff like this, Ivory Nile took out Scripps when he jumped on the steel steps to interfere, and I was worried because I thought Ivory might have hurt herself. Tony D's right knee collapsed on him when he was holding both Angel and Humberto. He was helped to the back. He came back out with a knee brace. We see the faces hit the full heels with simultaneous superplexes, which was actually quite a cool spot. And it was Tony D and Stacks who were the last men in the ring against Lucian Price. We did see OTM hit the elevated power slam finish on Tony D, but he kicked out. And the Family hit bada boom, bada bing to win. And the funniest thing about this, Monty, is like I said to you last update, Tony D and Stacks have not wrestled since winning the titles. And they've never looked better. I think we've cracked the code here with them.
Right. Less is more. Less is more, right? Oh my goodness. This match was fine. I did not have a problem with it at all. I didn't have a problem with it at all. It was cool. It was a good time. The crowd also was really into it, so you can tell they was having a good time because it wasn't really much to get invested into story-wise when it comes to this, other than, I guess, if you cared about those vignettes, those segments, when it comes for the tag team title picture. And just a second, hold on. Okay, sorry. Anyway, like I was saying, I think the whole entire point of this match was to kind of put over where the tag division is heading or where they are right now. But I think it was a really good time, especially when you got the Creeds in there doing everything that they were able to do athletic-wise. Garza and Humberto, we kind of know what they can do, at least in the ring. Their problem isn't in the ring. OTM was, there to kind of, follow along and kind of establish themselves. And you can, and the Family were, obviously, champs. So,
well,
it's bad when that's the only thing I can say about them is that they're the champs.
The thing is, though, right, so we know the Creeds will have the moment in the sun, and again, talk about the matchup in itself. I liked the matching outfits, apart from OTM, need a little bit of work. But did you think Tony D did look of Mountie cosplay? I felt.
I didn't think about it. It's fair. I must say this. Let me say this. This is what I really wanted to say too about this match. We have to stop this. I hope maybe he was seriously hurt, but we just have to stop this. Babyface gets hurt early in the match, And he returned. I feel like I've seen that spot a number of times just in the last few years. I think it's more prominent than it ever has been in wrestling. Just it reminded me of the Bianca situation. Even though I don't know that. Now, to be fair, the bump she took, at least in that situation, the bump. That's how I think it's best in those. You got to do it like that. When you look at the bump and you're like, oh my goodness, I don't know if she okay.
Yeah.
Like I don't even remember what actually supposedly happened. I don't even remember. Like, yeah, what happened? Hold on, what happened to Tony that caused him to get away?
He picked up the smallest tag team in the match.
See? And he just left. So, again, when you do something like that, I have to assume maybe something is really wrong, I guess. But even then, it just again, the impact of it, I don't think it hit the way they wanted it to hit. But it was fine. His flurry when he came back was fun. And, again, I don't have a problem with the match, but I just think everything kind of went in a predictable fashion, although it was very impressive spots. That cannonball, like you said, Brutus and Judas are just awesome. They're just like they're so, like you said, I think that's the thing too. They're leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else, in my opinion. And I think that's the thing. When you know they're not gonna win, it kind of takes away when you see right on display in this match that they're better than everyone else. It's kind of tough, but we'll see. We'll put it off. They'll be 2-time champions, hopefully sooner than later, but we'll have to wait it out because we gotta see how the family's reign plays out. But you're right. The end goal is to get them belts back on the crease or get them to the main roster.
Yeah, without doubt. A couple of nice looking spots, like you said, and I always pop for the Brutus Bomb as well. What would you score it out of 5?
Up again, it was fine. I think I'll give it 3 3.75 would be. I just keep it there. It wasn't anything bad with it. It was a really good time, and we can just leave it at that.
Yeah, I gave it a 4. Predictions: you all went the family, apart from Jaxie, the Creed. So
who did you choose?
She
okay,
went for
all
the
right.
Creed. So again, but this is what just shows you. Like I said, the predictions are random when it comes to it. So Jaxie's on 1, Gina and James on 2, Monty's in the lead with 3. We see another video package for Brian Pillman Jr. This time with him in the reflection. Mello celebrated with Trick. There's one more W, and there'll be Loving California. And again, right, I'm going to be a bit self-centered, self-served here. But we'll talk about the guy who did the track for NXT, which I've forgotten his name now, even though I watched a couple. And they said like 240 million streams lifetime. Yeah. Well, we've had 2.9 million listens since we've started. So surely that's something to be kind of go on about, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've been listening to nearly 3 million times since we started the show. Yeah? So come on. That's what I'm talking about.
Man. We need applause like that.
We haven't got...
Come on, we need all of the random stats that we need to drop out of nowhere. Did you know the WNR has been listened to 3 million times?
Yeah. And also, another random fact, people want to know our top 3 cities. How cool is this, top 3 cities? London, New York, Amsterdam. So there's a nice theme, like I'm saying. People enjoy smoke and listen to the podcast. That's what
Shout out to the Amsterdam. Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about. Anyway, we move. I don't talk about Monty though, do I? And sometimes I'm sure you guys think you're performing in front of just me, but there are believe it or not, there are people out there. There are people.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you're too humble. That's what it is. You're too humble. You're too humble.
Yes, I'm just like everybody else.
After every podcast, we should do a Triple H-esque or Shawn Michaels-esque press conference announcing all the statistics.
This podcast beat all other podcasts that we've done. Highest grossing, biggest merchandise
ever.
We did that,
most listened to.
Yeah. Do you know what we do? Most listened to as well. It's great. I think most listened like 50,000, and I think that was when we just all started doing it together as well as a group. So that proved that we had a future. Anyway, on to I had to do that. So on to a Heritage Cup. I didn't have to, but I wanted. Heritage Cup. Noam Dar versus Butch. Here we go. Back to the serious stuff. The Heritage Cup. Butch dominated round 1 with joint manipulation. But on the bell, Dar hit an elbow strike to set up a strong round 2. Now, Vic was talking about after the bell, but I didn't see it. Aura Mensah caught Butch with a kick to set up a Nova roller from Noam Dar to take the first fall in round 2. The Bruiserweight took the second fall with a lucky bitter end in round 3. Dar was caught in a triangle choke and passed out, but the clock had expired just in time in round 4. Round 5, Dar was doing what I love best and hanging in there, but Butch hit a cheap shot after the bell, which should have been a disqualification, man. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to do the rules, we're not going to
What's
do
going
the rules.
on, man? Bush League.
That's what I'm saying. I'm unbiased, as you know. So, and at the start of round 6, Mensah caught Butch with another insecurity, followed by Dar's Nova Roller, but Dunn did kick out. Bate took out Mensah outside. I don't know why Bate got involved. Butch hit a bitter end, but Dar managed to kick out like the champion that he is.
There you go.
Gallus got involved.
Impressive.
Yeah, Gallus got involved, and we know why, because Butch was disrespectful for Joe when he beat him in that final. So Joe, who nearly forgot how to get into a ring and lost his balance, but didn't. I wasn't going to mention that. He hit all the best for the bells where Dunn moved before he was
sure?
hit. He was hit. Dunn was moved before he was hit. That's how powerful that strike was. You tell me of another
telekinesis, man.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And Dar pinned the Bruiserweight to win. Dar gets the Heritage Cup spotlight that he deserves. What were your thoughts on this? Because again, I just did a Booker T, basically. I love Booker when it comes
I love Booker with metaphor. 100%. I knew exactly what you were doing because he blamed everything on everybody else. I just love how he didn't see anything bad that was going on. Nothing, it was awesome. His commentary was great. They're always great. He's always great when metaphor has been coming. I just love how invested he has gotten in that group. But yeah, man, and Vic is great too because he just know Booker T is just blind to him at this point. So they're awesome on commentary. This match was really, really cool. I think what I like the most about it is, again, in this environment, in the premium live event setting, with the crowd in the background, and just to see that they were, you don't realize. It's kind of like we talk about New Japan, or even when you share NXT UK with me, you don't really realize just like how good the stuff you're watching is to everyone else into situations like this. Because it was in the BT Sport Arena, but those episodes were like tape. You don't know how much of that is just, their actual investment in the product. I can assume it was because the product was good. Or was there like a little bit of crowd direction in between, edit points or something? You never really know when you're in a studio. But when you're in an arena like that, and the crowd does not have to be as invested as they ended up being when the score was 1-1 and we're in the 6th round and we don't know exactly what's gonna happen, and and how just the intensity of the match, it just shows me that me and you were basically 100% right about the Heritage Cup formula and just how it can be so compelling when it's done right. And I think Noam Dar does it perfectly. We talk about that all the time, but Butch was a great person to throw into this situation also, which I guess we kind of could predict because we just know what he's all about, what Pete Dunne and who he is and just how good he is at this style of wrestling. But again, I love the late hit. It's kind of becoming a signature for Noam Dar, the late round hits, but I love Butch kind of getting him back. I love the fact that the referee probably at this point, honestly, like, is a ref gonna -1 Noam Dar at some point when he does that? Like, you lose a fall because you did, you know what I'm saying? Like, someone is gonna have to do something besides this ref just screaming at Dar. Like, you know what you were doing. It's like, well, if you knew he did it on purpose, ref, then why don't you punish him for it? But anyway, I love it. It's just so smart. Like you said, the triangle choke, the drama attached to the end of each 3-minute increment is just awesome. And then again, these two guys, they just painted a pretty good picture. And even if you have a problem with the ending, because I'm going to be honest with you, other than I don't really remember the major disrespect that Bush kind of really gave to get to Joe. So I don't know exactly his beef other than the fact that he's just mad that he's not in that spot. And I guess that's I guess that's reason enough, right? Yeah, they're just Gallus are just big, just angry Scots, right, or whatever you want. You know what I mean? They're just angry, right? So that it is what it is. So Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the result, obviously, because you know who I was rooting for. And I think it was just another situation where Noam Dar's formula hit perfectly, and everyone in that arena was invested in it, and it ended up with a really, really good match. So I have no problem with this. This is really cool. I think my overall will probably be 4 1/4. I really was into it.
Yeah, well, like you said, though, Dar and the Heritage Cup is just like this could be on the main roster, and he could be challenging people as the way
I
he
agree.
is, you know. And another thing, I never thought that I wouldn't miss Charles Samuels in the corner of Dar, but with Metaphor, it just he's you know, and what can you say? Like when he's a star and he's star, and even with Pete Dunne, like watching how he's changed his style a little bit because he's a brawling brute. The way he kind of
Right.
just punches and hits more than, you know, the old Dunn is kind of much more technical and stuff like this. But this was a brawling brute of Butch. Like, he's proper, like, character in the character
I
as
agree.
it is, you know. And it's exactly the same with Dar. Like you said, you forget all the shenanigans with, like, the 7 people involved. In the ring were excellent, you know. And like I said, in this
Mm-hmm.
format, to have that crowd and to build it as it was, it really, really good stuff. I'm going to give that a 4.5. Prediction: the girls went Butch. We went for our man Dar, which means Monty's on 4.
Yeah.
I'm on 3. Gina's on 2. Jaxie is on 1. And up next, this is another thing about takeovers. We spoke about it before we start recording. This show, we're already on like the 2 main events. You know, and we wouldn't even be halfway through an AEW show. Like, I know we've got AEW next week, but let's just make the most of it right now, Monty. You know, like we are with 2 matches left. NXT champ, and what a fucking match! Come on, it's our boy. So, Carmelo Hayes. If I think about your 3 years on a podcast, I don't think there's anybody else as much as Carmelo Hayes. The moment he came out, and you were like, "This, you know, this is a man." You proved me wrong with it. And I think you got to admit, for me, Ilya Dragunov, NXT UK, I was like, you've got to see these matches. Like, the way, as soon as he arrived, I knew he was different. And like I said, it's awesome to get to this moment where in NXT, these 2 men are facing off. And Melo showed off his latest jersey collection of Fallen Challengers. Is there, I can't think of a better, you know, entrances. But just to kind of state how good Melo is, this is one of my favourite things. You know, like his entrance at a PLE.
I 100% agree. I think his entrance is just awesome, and I think the beauty of it is something that you can start doing. You can see him doing at like a WrestleMania down the line, and instead of just doing the graphics, he has these jerseys. He has a jersey printed out, you know, or something, or even with the graphics, or just something to an extent in certain arenas where they actually put someone's name in the actual rafters of the arena at events. You could just continue that theme for the rest of his career, you know, and I just love it, especially as someone like me who grew up loving basketball and understanding the reference. And I love how he's twisted it because, again, in basketball, in the NBA, that's an honor when you're in the rafters. You're a legend of that particular team arena that they put you in. So, you know, they hold you of high value. And Melo is twisted and saying, you know, these are the people that I have basically put on a shirt. The people I have basically overcame to this is my arena. I'm him. This is what I've done. And I just love it. And then it showcased the Reign clearly. And honestly, I was looking at the jerseys and I was thinking about it and I was like, man, this is now it's time for Melo to do this with with no trick. But then I saw the West Lead and I thought about it and I was like, well, man, he did already kind of win without trick once, or maybe he doesn't need to prove it here. So I was even more in doubt. I was like, oh my god.
But that just shows,
but,
like I said,
it was just still an awesome interest, though. Still an awesome interest.
but that's what I said. That shows how invested you were in this, and
Right.
even the storyline that has been
100%.
going on with Melo and Trick about this is the question that I think Melo didn't think about. If we're going to kind of go into it, is the fact Trick wondered if he could be a success without Melo, and now Melo's wondering the same because if it wasn't for Trick, Ilya Dragunov would really be NXT champion off the performance of Great American Bash. So this is exactly where we're getting to. And when Ilya Dragunov comes out and starts flying out the corner, you know.
Oh my goodness!
You're
No, I looked. To look at his face at the ramp too, I was like, yeah, this my guy, he's gonna get killed. And as soon as the match started, Dragunov just started wailing on my guy, man. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be tough to watch for a while.
Yeah, I mean, he did dominate the match early, but once Hayes did get going, it was hard to slow down. Dragunov booted Melo to the floor and yelled at the A champion that this was his ring. The Mad Dragon did chop Melo into the corner till the A champion caught his chop, finally finding his confidence. And this is not done enough in wrestling, even visual of the two faces together. You know, and I know we've seen it in the past, maybe like, you know, if you think of like Undertaker and Brock Lesnar or something like this, but those two guys, you know, it really, really was right in your face. I loved every moment of this, without a doubt. We see Melo counter the running forearm into an insecurity, followed up with rebound bulldog for a near fall. Melo attempted to counter the coast-to-coast with double knees, but the Mad Dragon lifted him up, rolling fireman's carry into the turnbuckle. Again, back from Great American Bash. Dragunov did hit the coast-to-coast for a near fall. He took a double knee facebuster, rebounded into an H-bomb for a near fall. He then went up to the second rope for the second H-bomb, but Melo
I thought it was over.
I don't know how Melo kicked out of that. It was back and forth all the way to the end. And Melo don't miss, but he did get caught when he went for it.
But he got blocked.
It's a huge, huge clothesline for the Dragunov, who went all the way up the top and hit a super H-bomb.
I was like, please miss, please miss.
The contact on that was like a tree fall.
Oh, it was perfect.
Yeah, honestly was. Yeah. And after a 3 count, and I'm delighted to say, your new NXT champion, Ilya Dragunov. Afterwards, the NXT champion picked up Melo, and Melo was trying to sell it.
Now get off.
Like, no, come on. Even Vic was like, he's intense now, as he was at the start of the match. Like,
bro, the most intense handshake ever.
But he did show Melo respect, as they both sold the physical damage to their bodies. And I will say, Monty, because it's great to say as well, Ilya becomes the first NXT UK male champion to be NXT champion. We did
even
it.
Over Gunther, right?
Yeah.
See, and you know what? That was what I had in my back pocket. Like, if he would have lost, I was going to be like, see, Gunther couldn't even do that. They still won't let Dragunov do it. But, you know, he did it. And I was like, you know what? I can't complain because, you know, again, he was the one who beat Gunther. So, of course, he's the one who makes history, you know? And, again, it just this match really crystallized even more, not only how special I think Melo is, even in a losing effort, it crystallized, again, why Dragunov is just unbelievably. He's like Melo said, he's undeniable. Well, you can't tell me Dragunov isn't either. You know, I saw some comments about Braun. I mean, or at least I think this was from Braun Breaker, and he said he'll be in main events against Melo for years to come, and he feel like they'll be kind of like the two guys on top. It'll be him versus Melo, you know, in main events, and I think that's definitely most likely going to be the outcome. But you cannot tell me that you can't see Dragunov and Melo, or, you know, especially, you know, with his history with Gunther. You see Dragunov doing this with a lot of people, but especially even with Melo now, he can be a major rival for Melo, even for years to come on the main roster. And honestly, that was another thing I thought about. I was like, Dragunov can be gone tomorrow to the main roster. He'll be fine, in my opinion. Even if some people may not be so confident about his size, I think his intensity and the way he fights will immediately wake anybody up, in my opinion, no matter how you think he looks. So that was one of the things I was kind of banking on if he lost. I was like, well, you know, he can do something else. He don't have to do this. But, you know, he proved me wrong, and he did this. And the same thing can be said for Melo, but I'm very interested for what's happening next. Hold on, you wanted to say something. I'm going to let you say it.
No, I was about to say, like, Ilya Dragunov only 29, and Vic mentioned during the match, like, these guys in the 20, like you said, these two, the chemistry made me want to cry. Because I thought, you know, you get one, but to be able to up that in the next match, you know.
Right, and the potential is there. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like with Gunther and him. You know, their chemistry and the intensity and just the way they beat the hell out of each other. You just makes you like it just kind of drives you to want to see them do it again down the line. I just know that WWE be fools to not cash in on that on the main roster once again. But I feel like that the same thing can be said in this situation because as much as I like the idea of Braun and Melo has a chemistry with Dragunov that him and Braun has nowhere nearly reached just in the matches if we compare the series against each other, if you know what I mean. But yeah, again, Dragunov has been great with almost anyone you put him in the ring with. So again, that just shows you how awesome he is, and I'm very, very excited for him as champion because under this persona is just this badass, tough dude, tough champion. And what I really like about him is he may still be a babyface, but he is all edge. He has no danger, in my opinion, of coming off like a white meat, just too nice of a babyface because he's so intense and he's so unique compared to everyone else as a champion. I can't wait to see how they decide to go about his reign going forward. Who his opponents would be? What direction do they take Dragunov in as champion? Because again, it's a complete honor to watch him work, and it's going to be. I cannot wait to see if they can continue to present him in an awesome way as champion. Because a lot of times we talked about this before. Sometimes the chase is better than once you get there, and I can't wait to see how it turns out for his potential reign because we kind of got robbed today at NXT UK because of the company, because of what they decided to do with NXT UK and because of the injuries and just the format in which and how they kind of booked NXT UK. He didn't get a chance to really run with the championship the way we wanted to because of circumstances that was kind of out of his control. So I can't wait to see what they do there. And then when it comes to Melo, I'm really excited because does this set up like a feud with Trick Williams, which it's going to pain me to see. But we'll talk about something that happened, but maybe this is set up something with Trick Williams down the line, and maybe that means he's gone after that. Or do you do the redemption route? Do you do that Melo's confidence has been finally shaken, and does he try to pick himself up and maybe down the line and stand and deliver? We get a third match between him and Dragunov or something. Or they might try to do a return match sooner than that. But I think you can give them a break from each other now. Let Dragunov run with the belt a while, and if you want to come back to Melo, if he's not going to the main roster, of course, if you want to come back with Melo, save it for down the line towards stand and deliver, so maybe he could try to reclaim what he is with his confidence brought back to where it used to be. Because again, I believe that was the thing that kind of dealt him a bad hand. Like you said, not only did he not consider what would happen if he missed, his confidence was shaken, so that may be reason why he missed. And then, like you said, who is he without Trick Williams? Can he do this without Trick Williams? Do he blame it on Trick Williams? Does he pick himself up? Does he blame himself? It's a lot of questions, a lot of directions you can go with the Melo character from here, and I'm really excited to see what they decide to do going forward.
Yeah, I think my only problem about me being a title change or not was his position on the card. Because, like I said, if it was a main event, then definitely title change. But to have a NXT title change
I agree.
like this here is a bit surprising. It has never been done before. Like I said, with Leah,
main event.
Yes, without a doubt. But I mean, with Leah, well done. What got him over in NXT UK got him over in NXT, and it's what makes him special. And like you said, he's not going to be this white meat baby face. As soon as the big fight film music hits, like you said, the pace for this was another level. Both men just bouncing around, Like I said, this is one of the best NXT title matches ever. Yes, even Johnny's reign, I do feel sorry for the next challengers. I know we're talking about Melo, and I'll talk about it in a minute. But when you think about every wrestler who Ilya wrestles gets like a busted mouth, we talk about his NXT UK title reign. I think like 3 of the 5 defenses ended with referee stoppage. So he might need to tone it down a little.
But who's next?
But
that's my next question. Who could they even put there? Who's next?
He can't be stopped at this moment in time. There is no one apart from Melo at Deadline, where you give us, like you said, the third match in the series with maybe a gimmick, and then hopefully if they have them one of those weird like Deadline matches and try and build up a challenger in that way, he can't be stopped. If you've taken out the best best in NXT. Like I said, Melo has been the best thing in NXT for 2
Mhm.
years now, without a doubt. You know, the A champion and
Right.
all this kind of stuff. So he has got big boots to fill, and I worry about who can be there. But for Melo, I want to see him maybe title. But what I want is him and Trick win the tag titles. Because if you win the tag titles, then it means Melo is Grand Slam in NXT, chuck in the breakout tournament, and the cruiserweight title, and all the other shit, and he's cleared the decks. You know, and you can have the winning the tag titles, drop it at Stand and Deliver, and then debut the night after, whether it is. Don't split Trick.
He can make the case is better than Finn as far as like Mr. NXT goes if he does something
He's
like that.
He's completed it, you know. And again, Trick and Melo, bit like Toxic Attraction we mentioned earlier. If you split them up in NXT, then that's ruined because then you haven't got that on the main roster, you know.
They're teasing it though, man. So I'm worried. I'm really worried, but I hope you're right. I really hope you're right.
But again, we have this matchup to look back on, no matter what happens from now. You know, like we said, we're
special stuff.
Melo. Like I said, Melo deserves all the credit in the world, without a shadow of a doubt. But I am so happy that Dragunov is NXT champion. Predictions, this a match of the year candidate, Monty, isn't it? You know? Again.
Yeah. I was to say the first one was a match of the year for me, so yeah, this is another one right up there, right next to it, man. 5 stars, no doubt, man. It was awesome. Yeah. Perfect. And maybe that's my bias because I was so into it, but I think I could put their 2 matches up against some of the best wrestling around the world. It'll hold up.
Well, you're like this. Like the H-bomb in this matchup, it just kept going up a level, didn't it? You know?
Right. Exactly.
Boom.
Oh, man. I was hoping he moved out of the way of that third because I knew it was over. I knew it. I'm like, please move.
I'm going... So, the second one, though, again, is like, how the fuck did he... Because the thing is, I'm watching it on the delay, so I kind of know the result, but that's what gets you when you go, fuck, he did kick out of that. Like, maybe I looked at the results wrong or whatever. Predictions... Jaxie and Monty went for Melo. Yes, Jax went for Melo as well. James and Gina went for Leah. Yeah, Gina's on fire when it comes to NXT, so it means I join you on 4, Monty. Gina's on 3. Jaxie is on 1. Before the main event, NXT showed the participants in the women's breakout tournament. We got Jakara Jackson. Leave it. Oof. Carmen Petrovic, Lola Vice, Jada Parker, Izzy Dane, Danny Palmer, Kalana Jordan, and the Ariana Grace. Monty, pick you on the spot right now. Pick one.
Dang, I think who won it? Wasn't Nikita last time?
Yeah.
Didn't Nikita win? I'm going with Lola Vice. I'm going with a heel this time. If she even is a heel.
I'm lying to you.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was Rox because she won the title from it.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Roxy won it. Why did I think Nikita win? See, you're 100% right. It was definitely Rox.
Nikita,
okay.
Sorry,
Definitely still going heel. Still going heel this time. I'm going to go heel. Lola's going to probably beat out Kalani. That's my prediction.
I'm going to go Jackson because metaphor all the way. That's what we're
Yeah. Roof.
I don't forget.
You got to give a roof for Lola, too. Roof.
Yeah. Hey. Drew McIntyre's kill, just to balance it out. Right, NXT Women's Championship. It's the main event. It's Extreme Rules. It's Becky Lynch versus Tiffany Stratton. Tegan Knox was shown watching closely at ringside, ruining the result of this match. Lynch came out after highlights of her wrestling career. She brought a cart of weapons to the ring. I say a cart. She could have used more space. I hope she doesn't do that when she's shopping. They brawled outside first. They fought into the crowd, where a fan handed a man a chains to use a weapon, and she smacked Tiffany upside the head with that. And I thought Tiffany dealt with this ever so well to be cut open at this point. There were some unique weapons used in this match: workman's hat, Barbie dolls, a fire extinguisher, and a barbed wire bat. Lynch, and again, we talked about earlier, can we stop with the chairs in fucking hardcore matches or Extreme Rules? Like, the moves on multiple chairs now have been done enough. All right, just get a table.
Done to death.
Yeah, yes. just get a table.
Right. What happened to the table? What happened to the table?
Anyway, Lynch caught Stratton with a double underhook suplex on a pile of chairs and then locked her in the disarmer. The Center Universe rolled outside and powerbombed the man on the steel steps. Stratton somersaulted onto Lynch onto the announce table chair through the barricade in a cool spot. She caught the man with a senton bomb on a table, then again in the ring. But Lynch managed to fight back out of it and hit 2 manhandle slams, including the second one on the steel chairs after ducking the prettiest moonsault ever for Lynch to retain. I mean, it was difficult to follow the previous match. Monty, how do you think these two did?
Yeah, pretty tough. I think, honestly, if you're going off what the crowd did and all of that, and, I think they did the best they could, and I don't think it was bad at all. I think it was really cool. And they held my attention. They didn't bore me to death, or they weren't so below what the men just did, what Ilya and Melo just did, to where you're just like, okay, nah, this is a bad idea. I think it was still very, very good. I came away again impressed. I don't want to turn this into just because I feel like that's what the show turned into last week. Like, I was just really, really high on Tiffany. But I think she deserves it. Like, again, she's just you can't say enough about. Yeah, you definitely can do that. But it's just besides that too. That's the thing. It's not just that. Like, it's certain people in the past that you can say is probably a lot more roof going on than it is. You know what I'm saying? That it is quality. But
we made it into a thing. It's good.
We definitely made it into a thing. I'm gonna annoy the hell out of the girls when we get back. They say someone's name and just talk about Jade Carter. Woof, woof, woof. Anyway, but yeah, like I was saying though, it's certain people that you can say that it's probably more of that than it is what they're doing, the quality of what they're doing. But Tiffany just keeps getting better, and it's just insane. And when you put her on the spot with someone like she even mentioned herself, a WrestleMania main event, or someone like Becky Lynch, who done it all, has the credibility, has had great matches, especially under the WWE umbrella, and she's not even come close to drowning at all. You know what I'm saying? And I think her athleticism on this match was insane. I see Charlotte still does stuff where I'm just like, man, Charlotte I don't know if she's underrated as an athlete, but she's an awesome athlete. And it don't necessarily get talked about enough because everyone loves talking about who she is and how maybe she's booked a certain way because of who she is. But it's because of that stuff, like the stuff that she can do that no one else really can, is why I think Charlotte has always been top notch. I'm sorry, Jackson. And I think Tiffany is in that same category when you just look at some of the stuff that she applies in her skill set and some of the things that she's able to do so effortlessly. The swanton through the table and just the risk she's willing to take, and she make it look easy. And sometimes you're wondering, is she okay? And she just shrugs it off and keep going. Like you said, the chain spot. Everyone was commending Shawn Michaels, like, oh man, Shawn Michaels booked blood in a women's match. He knows what he's doing. I'm just like, I guarantee you, he didn't book that. But
positive negatives to Becky Lynch, isn't there? I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes things don't necessarily always go where you want it when it comes to that. But it was cool. It was creative. Even the Barbie spot, I got it. Even if it wasn't really my thing, I got it. So yeah, man, I thought this was really, really good. And again, we know how good Becky is, and she continued her reign here. I must say that it kind of, in my opinion, Tegan Knox is like, she's just there and she's just gonna have a regular match with her on Raw, and it's just like, I don't know, man. You just see what Becky just went through easily. So like, you're gonna have to do a lot to kind of. I hope they don't just give you guys the 5-minute special that they give women sometimes on Raw. Hopefully you guys are able to have a competitive match for the title. And I do think that this is doing wonders for the NXT Women's title, being on Raw and being on Becky's shoulders. So I have no problem with it. And I wonder, since we know Raw and NXT are being shopped right now to networks, how much is promoting Becky Lynch as a champion right now, and maybe even Dragunov too as champion? How much does that factor in these decisions with Becky Lynch being on top? Because you can't tell me Tiffany's performance doesn't show you that she can still be your champion, and it definitely will be again. I think we both know she will capture that belt again at some point. But
well, I think, like you said, the Becky Lynch thing is exactly that. Look at the ratings. They're doing 800,000 million sometimes segment. They can then, when they shop around, go, look how much we're getting for that. So again, perfect point. But it's helping the product out like it hasn't done in such a long time, which is only a good thing. And like you said, Becky's Becky herself seems the most comfortable she has been for a while. You know, and you talk about kind of that man and getting the reaction that she's the biggest star there. But like you said with Tiffany, and it's not, you know, she's getting better every week. And you compare her with like Mandy Rose, like Tiffany's already at that level.
Right.
You know, she's already there, and it's only been what, 6 months?
And it's been a couple years.
Yeah,
yeah,
to,
6 months.
You know,
exactly.
So
right.
Again, you are right. Tiffany,
100%.
She is the future of this business. Beautiful handspring elbow. I haven't seen a shopping trolley used so well since Rhino Gord one. So again, it was good for Tiffany to do that. The final 5 minutes was carnage, but in a good way, I suppose. You know? So what would you give that out of 5 then?
Yeah, man. Like I said, I had a really good time with it. I give it 4.5. It was a really, really good match. I had no problem with it. I think the right person won. I'm eager to see what she does. You know, not only with people like Tegan Knox on Raw, you know, but who does she attack? Who is next? Like, do we get a Blair Davenport? Do we get a obvious feud with Roxanne that can happen, or any of the other, you know, young talent? Who can Becky Lynch also work with along the path? Because we know she's probably going to work her way back around to Tiffany, or Tiffany will work her way back to the belt. What's next? You know, Thea Hale, who is on that list that Becky can work with and continue to make the women's division feel like it's on another level, especially when we have the breakout tournament coming next, because I think whoever wins that might be, like you said, maybe we'll get in a situation where the winner of that gets a shot at Becky. So who knows? We'll see how this turns out. But yeah, man, I gave it 4.5 stars. I thought it was a really good match, and I did not mind it finishing the show, even if, you know, I did think Dragunov and Melo was perfect.
Yeah, but I think the main takeaway, like we talked about with the NXT title match with this, is we're actually exciting, and there are options of where we go after this. You know, does Lynch carry on challenging the younger talent in NXT? Is there a bigger challenger? What does Tiffany Stratton do? Could she conceivably go to fucking main roster? You know, who knows? But again, probably make more sense in NXT. It's the same thing with Carmelo Hayes. Now, what does he do with Trick, with Leah Dragunov as well? So when a takeover, as I call it, because I'm old, or a PLE, I give you as many questions to answer. And as we know, we've got Halloween Havoc coming up at the end of October. So they're going to build a match or two for that. It's all good times. You know, like I said, I'm going to give that match 4 3/4. Going to think the women really, really delivered in a good way. Predictions, we all went Lynch. So the final scores, Jaxie on 2, Gina on 4, James and Monty on 5. So,
all right. All is right in the world. We won.
Well, the thing is, we did win. The experts did win. But again, I have been hanging on for dear life these past couple of predictions. It feels, do you know what I mean? Like I'm just getting by. So Monty is still in the lead with 16. I'm on 15. We extend the lead for 3 to Gina on 12 and Jaxie on 11. Our last bonus prediction points will be NXT Deadline, Monty. So, not to, because I know last year I don't think you had a league win. I'm not 100% sure. We'll have to look back.
Yeah, I don't
remember.
Yeah.
But if all you have to do is win.
It's just win. Just keep winning.
Even if we draw, you've won. What you don't want me to do is win and get a perfect score. If that happens, I will beat you. So that's all that's left.
That's why I was sort of happy Baron screwed us all, because I double checked and I was like, okay, no one got smart and thought about Corbin, and I was because I didn't know, like I said, Trick or Dragunov, I really didn't know about either one of those matches. This
is the thing. If it's just one match, you know, if it was just like the Corbin match, yes, but again, you call it the Trick one, so it's going to be very interesting when we come to Deadline. And the show ended with Mello and Trick embracing backstage, with Mello kind of apologising to Trick that it wasn't good enough. And Trick nearly made me cry about what a good friend he is, you know.
Right?
Like, what a guy.
And then, but man, he looked at that belt, and I was just like, Mello, don't do it. Don't you dare look at that North American title. Just go ahead, hug your brother, and move on. Move on together. Don't you dare do it. I can't handle it, man.
It's not going to happen. It's like you and I. You know, we're always there for each other. One may be up, one may be down, but we got each other's back.
Right.
which is fine, you know. Anyway, talk about. So we know the match of the night. I think would be fair to say is it
Yeah.
versus Mello.
Once
MVP in
again.
the night. Again, MVP might be quite easy to say. Monty, who are you going to go for?
Oh man, I'm biased. You know who my MVP is, man. I came a long way. You know, I was the only one to predict he was gonna win. As much as I would like, Dragunov is an obvious answer. He definitely can get a shout. And like I said, Tiffany, her stock has risen through the roof. But man, Trick Williams, man, to think about it, like I said, he was a manager, a guy who had limited ring time that I knew of for a while. And to see how far he's coming to the point where he is not only coming out of No Mercy with the crowd chanting "whoop that trick," but he came out of No Mercy as a champion, defeating Dominic. Hopefully they let that stand through. We'll check it out, the new NXT. But I can't wait. Either way it goes, we know that he is North American champion, and he did it, man. I was very, very proud, very happy that result went in my favor. So yeah, man, you know, maybe you went Dragunov. I ain't mad at you, but I'm going with Trick.
Well, I'm going Trick as well, to be fair.
Hey, whoop that Trick.
Well,
hey.
listen, I could maybe say Dar getting a chance to be in the spotlight or, you know, Butch, but I think this was Trick's moment, you know. And again, maybe he could have had more build to it rather than one episode of NXT. But we still got this moment, you know, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. Overall, then, for the night, Monty, because this was a very, very good premium live event, and not just because it was just 2.5 hours and featured a match of the year candidate. What are you going to score it?
My score is going to be maybe it's high to some people, but I don't really care. Because tell me something that was bad. Even like again, give me something that was bad on this show. Nothing happened bad. Even the results that I got wrong, you know what I mean? Like I said, Corbin winning, that makes a lot of sense. Can't be mad at that. Dragunov ascending, becoming champion. You know, he used that word destiny. That's another key word in wrestling. When people start saying destiny, a lot of times, you know, they're going to fulfill it whether I like it or not. And that's exactly what ended up happening. But yeah, man, I can't be mad at that. He's the Mad Dragon. He's Dragunov. He's awesome. I think, you know, what I love the most that I saw a tweet from someone who had never seen a Dragunov match, and she immediately got the hype. She immediately understood why the hell we talk about Dragunov the way we do. So the fact that you get to see stuff like that happen, like it just really makes you feel like, man, this is like, again, it's just awesome. One of those great things about being a wrestling fan is knowing that you just made a fan of a person that you already hold to a high regard. Someone else got to see why we all hold him up there to that regard, and they enjoyed it. So I can't have a problem with what happened with Dragunov. So yeah, man, I'm not gonna say it's a perfect show because it wasn't, you know, it wasn't 10 out of 10 worthy, but it was definitely 9.5 worthy. Like it was really, really close. Like it was up there. You know, you have a 5-star match. Maybe if we get, like you said, maybe a little more of a build for the Trick Williams moment. Maybe if you have more of a story going into some of these other matches, and you know, Becky and Tiffany definitely delivered. But you know, everything else was pretty solid to good. I think those matches were really great. So yeah, man, and then you got the Heritage Cup that was really great. But yeah, I'm gonna go with 9.5. I think that's the fairest score I can give it, even though it was really good. Nothing bad happened on this show.
No, I'm gonna give it a 9.25, just because, like I said, the first. What I'm excited about in the future is like the Bron Baron match will be switched to like Von and Bron. So at Deadline, that'll actually be a match we're really looking forward to. You know, exactly. Same with the Dom with the time to put there. I think from Dar and Butch, this card is incredible. And as we spoke about this year, NXT is getting closer and closer to that kind of magical, I don't know if it's a recipe or whatever the fuck it was, but you can even feel it, like you said earlier, Monty, like the crowd investment, being into it. And because of, you know, Becky Lynch and people like that. But like I said, for Ilya Dragunov, history was made here. You know, for Ilya Dragunov to win the NXT championship, first man from NXT UK do it. For Trick to win his first championship as well, and for the women to main event a show, it was great stuff all round. But I do think, like I said, there's been better events. But my scores are so fucked up. I'm going to look back, and all of them have been 9.25, 9.5. Like this year for wrestling, it's been mental though, hasn't it? Like every week, it seems we have another thing to either discuss or watch or talk about, and see,
and
at
then
least it's paying off.
like Zach and we got Zack Sabre Jr. and Bryan Danielson coming up. like it's just we just got something. Just every bleeping week is something to where you're like, oh my god. So yeah, I'm with you. I understand.
Well, what a way to end it then. I think we'll talk about that is it. Don't forget, across all social media, Twitter at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNR JR. You can find the entire WNR team on the Twitter banner. Monty, you want to plug your stuff?
Yeah. At my Monty Pod on X, you can follow my links there, or you can go to the Twitter banner like you just mentioned for the WNR. You can follow me there. Again, I'm gonna be I'm a little sparse with my activity because I'm doing what I have to do right now personally. But when I do return, everything will be on there, and you guys will know. And same thing with my YouTube, Mind of Monty on YouTube. I plan on getting a little bit more active there once I have me some free time and some ideas for something to give you guys. Yeah, like I said, I have a couple of New Japan pods in the tuck. I just have to figure out how do I want to release them and have to edit all that type of stuff. So we'll figure that out. But it'll all work out, and hopefully you guys just keep up with me at my Monty Pod on X or Twitter, whatever you call it.
WNR also on Facebook and Instagram, across all Google platforms. Send us an email, WNRpodcast@gmail.com, and YouTube podcast. Where podcasts go at the same time on YouTube to do SoundCloud on your phone, also Spotify and iTunes. You can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. And like I said, our next episode is AEW Wrestle Dream, or and I'm glad you're calling it, finally getting Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. So we are looking forward to that.
That's all I care about, to be honest.
But
I think I care about Swerve and Hangman, and other than that,
as long as the right result. Like, I don't want to,
right.
talk about predictions, but as long as
right.
We all want Adam Page to win, don't we? So as long as and also apparently Christian Darby Allin is main eventing. So maybe Edge makes his AEW later.
Fringe.
So
it's fringe.
In this week, I see clearly. That's gonna be this song. It's gonna all the things that they do, but who knows? So
Ledge Copeland.
It's Ledge. It's Ledge.
By God.
My God, he is broken in half. That's what JR will say. JR will go, oh, look, it's Edge. And they'll be like, God damn it, JR. How many times? This is why you don't do main events anymore. But again, that's all next week's fun. I mean, NXT's been great. It's been a fun little journey.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
So that is it. And then I've been Jay Jones, who was joined by the mind of Monty. Monty, again, thank you very much for joining me. 3 years going strong, eh? What about to another 3?
Hey, we'll see. You never know. Time flying because these last 3 flew by, man. So yeah, man. Adios. Thank you very much for always a good time. NXT. Can't wait, man. Ready to go. I'm already ready for Halloween Havoc. I'm ready for the bill.
There we go. Well, thanks for this, and bye.